I feel like before we go right into meditation, is it anyone's first time here? Do we have any? Yes, welcome. Usually what we do is we like have like a period of meditation and then we have a break and then we have the Dharma talk. And I'm gonna start us off in a little bit of a different way just because I feel like these times call for it and just see if we can popcorn a little, just like a one word check-in. Doesn't have to be everybody, but I just feel like, right, folks are, including myself, are on a roller coaster right now. And I know some folks are really feeling aloneness. Hopefully some of us are feeling connected. But without the mic, I'll just repeat so that the Zoomers hear. If anyone's willing just to say a word or two of how you're doing right now. Just grateful, overwhelmed, equanimous. Yeah, we have on Zoom. Go ahead, Colleen.
Oh, just happy to be here. I'm
Happy
very
to
happy
be here.
and be joining.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Colleen. Happy to be here.
thank you.
Trusting,
Outraged.
outraged,
Mm,
tense,
mm,
full, concerned,
mhm,
grief.
mm.
Yeah. And so even if you didn't speak your word out loud, it could be just a useful thing right now to take a moment and see what your word might be for yourself. Maybe someone said your word, maybe it's different, you're having a different experience. And what's so important to me is that whatever way you're coming in, maybe this whole week you've just been like shut down and frozen, maybe this whole week you've been enraged, maybe you've been quite peaceful, whatever it is, however you are, you're welcome here. You're welcome just as you are, to be how you are. And so, as we are, is how we'll begin our sit, and we'll get to see through our sit how this process changes, how we're a process that changes. And so, we'll be in meditation for like 25 to 30 minutes. And I really like to encourage, you might already be in a position and think that this is your meditation position, but perhaps actually there is a way to be like 1% more comfortable. And you're allowed to choose to be that. You're allowed to choose to be a little more comfortable. Shift your body however you need to. Yeah, if you need to get up and get another cushion or a blanket. And you can check out as we kind of start to move our way into this form of training. You can see if it feels good to close your eyes. Sometimes that feels really settling. And sometimes actually keeping the eyes open at first or for the whole sit can feel more stabilizing. And so kind of just getting to welcome yourself in step by step to see what's supportive for me to begin this settling process. When I typically start a sit, I usually like to take 3 intentional breaths. For me, that can be really supportive. And so if that feels right for you, feel free. Feel free to take a few breaths. purpose. You might let yourself notice just kind of the soundscape of the room. If you're coming in with a little bit of like tightness or a little bit of nervousness, a hand on the heart is always welcome. Sometimes that can feel calming, rooting. Letting yourself feel the places that your body meets, whatever it is that you're sitting on. You might feel your seat on a cushion or on a chair. You might be able to experience or feel the legs resting. You might notice where your feet landed for today's practice. And you might notice if you can feel your breath somewhere in the body. Maybe you feel it at the nostrils or in the belly or the heart. Or even just the movement or the sway of the breath breathing. And so as we sit together tonight, you'll notice that the mind has these well-traveled pathways, these habits of thought, often thinking about a different time zone the unknown, anxiety sometimes. And so the way that we train is we bring the mind in a kind way back into just this moment, just this one. Every time you welcome yourself back, you can kind of hook into something that's in this experience, whether that's sensation of the body or the breath or sound. Checking in what is it like right now? Finding your way back into presence if you've wandered as it happens. Sometimes just through sound we can arrive back into this space, a sensation of the body, bring us back here. What's it like right now? No matter how far you've gone, can you come back home here? As we come into the last few minutes of our meditation training period, I'm going to offer a chant for the Triple Jewel, reverence for the Triple Jewel, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. If it'd be supportive for your practice to sing along, if you know it, feel free. Otherwise, you can let yourself continue to stay close to what is unfolding here. Buddham, 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 one day, Dhammam, 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 one day. Sangham, 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 one day. Buddhang Dhammam, Sangham, one day. Buddhang, 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 one day. Dhammam, 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 one day. Sangham, 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 one day. Buddham, Dhammam, Sangham, one day. Dhammang one day, Sanghang, Sanghang, Sanghang one day, Buddhang Dhammang, Sanghang one day. For the Zoomers, I'm ringing the bell. So we'll take a short break. We'll keep the meditation hall silent, and you're welcome to communicate and chat and commune outside. Um, I put little hearts in there's like a meditation bell near the shoes outside of here that has hearts. And I would just want to invite folks who feel called to write on a heart who they want to dedicate their practice to. And you can bring that heart back into the hall with you. And we'll be back soon. Thank you. Would anybody like to name someone that they're dedicating their practice to? All beings everywhere. Mic drop. Your mom, Parisa? Ooh.
She's dedicating her practice to her friend Colleen.
Colleen. Colleen. Okay. Colleen, you're getting a dedication of practice. Yeah. Anybody else? Ourselves? Yourselves. I love that. Of course. Don't make me sing. There's a song about that. I'm not going to sing it. I'm going to dedicate my practice to my friend's sister-in-law who was in the shooting a couple days ago. Who's yeah, going through a lot. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but this whole world thing is not going according to my plan. Not really matching my expectations. Is it matching anyone's expectations here? I wondered actually, yeah. I wondered if for some this might have been totally to be expected. Yeah. Yeah. When I first when I first named this talk skillful engagement, I was like, it really like kind of created a fire in my belly of like, okay, like how do we do this? How do I do this? How do we do this? Kind of like feeling this impulse for action. And especially over the last couple of weeks, I just am realizing I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't train for an authoritative government. I didn't know I was going to be grieving democracy in my life. I don't really know how to do this. And I hear voices of folks who feel like they do, that they know their engaged path. I've talked to others who are like, I don't even look at the news. I don't even know what's going on. Right? And I'm guessing if I interviewed every single one of you, you would have your own way that you're showing up to life right now. Right? Sometimes there's like, really big shutdowns, really big avoidance. I'm sure many people are just in a total, kind of like freeze state, not able to even come close to what's going on. And I know I've heard stories of some people reading the news all day, every day, and are just enraged 24/7. So how do we do this? How do we show up to what's happening right now? That little phrase that I dropped into meditation, notice what it's like right now. That's from my teacher Tanisra, right? And that immediately directs us back into this unfolding, which is actually what the Buddha said we're taking refuge in. This is the invitation, is to take refuge in the Dhamma, which is what is unfolding right now, and right now, and right now, and right now. What is unfolding? To take refuge. Refuge. Refuge is like refuge is like safe haven. Refuge is protection. Refuge is like sanctuary. To take refuge in what is happening right now. Can you imagine? And this teaching has lasted 2,600 years. We're still learning the same teaching to take refuge in what's happening right now. That still seems to be the tried and true path. to take refuge. So this is how it is right now. This is how it is right now. This is how it is right now. That's the truth. And how I feel about it, that's information. Life isn't going according to my expectations. What a surprise, right? I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how um, upset I get when someone doesn't act according to how I thought they should act, right? And now it's happening on such a big level, right? This is dukkha, this is suffering. This is the unreliability of life. For those that are new to Buddhism, that is like the Buddha's first truth of it all. Is like, welcome. There is nothing to hang your hat on. This isn't stable. Nothing's stable. And we can feel the pain of expecting it to be stable. Isn't that amazing? It hurts. Oof. And then what are we invited to do is to wake up into the suffering. Is to let this wake us up. We don't come to practice to go to sleep. We don't come in here to go to sleep. We come in here to wake up, to become even more aware of what's happening right now. And the more we practice this, the more we become aware of. Layers and layers of awareness. Has that happened for anyone who's been meditating? Where now you're noticing things you would have never noticed like 10 years ago? Little sensations, little moments that you don't react or you do react, right? There's all these things that we start to become more and more aware of. We take refuge. When I think of refuge, the image that's been coming to me is like an enormous weeping willow, and it's like it's pouring rain outside, and there's someone standing under the weeping willow with like a little lantern, and to everyone who's outside, they're saying, come in, come under, come to safety, come join me here. That's refuge to me right now. We're waking up to the unfolding of what's happening. And how are we doing it is through our awareness. That's also a refuge, Buddha, to be aware of it, to be aware of what's happening, right? Not to turn away, actually, not to shut down. The Buddha did not teach inaction. The Buddha taught engagement. And so we're aware of what's unfolding right now, and we can actually feel the sanctuary of those that came before us and those that are here right now who are willing to do the same thing. That's the triple jewel. That's what we just chanted to. I was wondering when I was thinking about this talk, I was wondering about what was if during the Buddha's life, if there was war, if there was violence, there was different periods of it, and even I think towards the end of his life, his own clan, the Shakya clan, was like massacred. And I guess the Buddha tried to intervene and couldn't really put an end to the violence. But the whole time, his 40 years or something like that of teaching, he still always taught nonviolence, harmlessness, the path of harmlessness. He taught that over and over and over again. Again, that's not inaction, but a path of non-harming, a path of nonviolence. So for me, when I read the news sometimes, or I receive the news, a lot of the times I get news from my clients, from people around me. I get informed that way too. I'll notice the arisings of what the Buddha called the three poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. Right. When my friend told me about her sister-in-law being involved in the shooting, my first response was anger. My first response was like, who, like almost like, who am I going to fight? You know, this like me alone in my car, hearing the information. As we're waking up to what is unfolding in front of us, the idea is that as we wake up to it, we are starting to see more and more clearly. And one way that I think about this is as we see more and more clearly, we are expressing these poisons less and less: greed, aversion, delusion, hatred, wanting, desire, confusion. I'm using synonyms. That might have been confusing. Greed isn't something I can know, that's not like a word I use in my own kind of dictionary. So greed is like that wanting something, wanting it. In meditation, we know it. It's good to name, actually, right? Fantasies, wanting. Yeah. Aversion is hatred, not wanting. I don't want this. How many of us don't want this right now? There's a lot of not wanting right now. Yeah. And then delusion I kind of think of often as confusion, or believing if I get what I want, it's going to be okay. Or if I stop getting what I don't want, it's going to be okay. It's a confused state of mind. I think there's a lot of delusion right now. There's a lot of folks, right, who believe they know what's going on. And we don't know. We've never lived this before. There's a lot of not knowing, actually. And so in the Buddha's teachings, it's like take refuge in what's unfolding right here, and let us no longer water these seeds of greed, hatred, and delusion, because we're actually seeing, we have like this like front row seat to the effects of greed, hatred, and delusion. This is what we're seeing. This is what happens with an unskillful, untrained mind. We each have these seeds in us. We have these poisons in us. And in this practice, we're learning to uproot them over and over and over again. Gosh, if it could just be three roots, you know? They're sprinkled everywhere. And so as we're waking up to what's unfolding, we can actually track for ourselves when we are having the impulses towards these poisons. Okay? I have a friend who a few years ago, she lives in this small mountain town like us, but in a different state. And a few years ago, she bought a house and she loves her house. And it's such a lucky thing. You know, she's so happy. And over the last year, she's learned that a few miles from her house is an ICE detention center that's filling up with humans. And so now when she goes to sleep, she knows down the road, there's all these people that are being in her beautiful house. She's in her beautiful house, and a few miles away is this ICE detention center. And she said to me, Gavrila, I feel called to be on the front lines of these protests, but I actually don't trust my body. If I'm in the front lines, my body will act out in a way that will get me in trouble. I will likely get hurt. And so I can't be on the front lines. That's not where it's best for me to be. And so instead, what she's doing, she's also a Dharma teacher. She's like kind of like acting as the chaplain for the folks that are protesting. She's become their safe haven to support them to do the work that she's unable to do. It's not safe enough. It's just, yeah, not a good idea. And so she gets to feel the impact of feeling these people that are essentially incarcerated down the road. She gets to feel the grief of that. And then with her skillful wisdom, she's deciding the most appropriate action. What is the most skillful action for her to take? We want to get to know what is unfolding for us. We want to become intimate with what is kind of waking up, what emotions are alive when we find out news, whether it's in our own life or globally. We can be touched. We will be touched. We have human hearts. We'll be affected. And then we want to really get clear on what is wise movement from that effect. What is a way that I can respond to this beautiful beating heart in a way that is not creating more harm? How do I not poison the world more? And it's tricky, right? Because some of it, I mean, I'm like, I wouldn't harm the world more. But you know what? If I act out in my anger, I will. I absolutely will. And it's tricky, right? It's tricky. It's tricky to find this middle path for each of us. Each of our middle paths is so our own, and it's changing every day, every moment. And we don't know really actually how we're going to respond in any moment, right? And that's our study, that's our refuge. That's where we belong, is right here in the unfolding moment. Because if all of my spidey senses are right here, I'm going to be able to respond better than if I'm in a million places at once, a million time zones in fear over there, wishing I'd done something else over there. No, collecting the attention to what's happening right here and responding from that, right? I'm someone who loves Kabbalistic wisdom. I love it so much. There's so many layers to it. And so each moon cycle, I'll I'll read about the moon. And there's a lot of symbology in Kabbalah, in the Kabbalah, and like often the moon in the moon cycles, there's like sometimes like symbols of animals and directions that kind of are woven in. And so I was reading about this month, and this month there's this calling in of the buffalo. Okay, I'm just going to read a little piece that I learned about the buffalo. So the buffalo, according to the Kabbalah, is representative of containment, of the power to slow down unbridled frenzy and redirect it towards creative and constructive ends. The buffalo therefore represents majesty, meaning being in one's full power without necessarily having to exert it or demonstrate it, but simply by one's presence and demeanor, by one's conviction and emotional honesty. Buffalo teaches us to pull back and respond from a place of clarity as opposed to a place of impulsivity. Buffalo accomplishes conflict resolution by mere presence, by slowing down, by standing ground with honor and integrity. That's from Miriam Meron. Just let yourself feel that for a second. Let yourself, whatever even stuck, if anything did, about buffalo, letting yourself feel that for a second. Sometimes I imagine downloading an energy, downloading something. You might even feel it in your posture as a meditator. What would it be like to feel that groundedness even amidst frenzy, even amidst movement? So we as practitioners, we get to track ourselves, to track our responses, our reactions. We get to track when we get off kilter, off center, when we start to feel frenzied, when we start to shut down. We get to know ourselves when we're acting skillfully, when we're engaged, when we're focused, when we know what is the right response for us in that moment. And we also get to know ourselves when we are not in skillfulness. I want to remind us too that the Buddha's path is and was engaged. We are not told just to sit here and shut down. We're not here to try to find refuge away from the world. We're being asked to actually engage, to stay moving and breathing. And for each of us, the way to do that, that balancing act is our own thing, is our own journey. I'm going to read one more quote. Aligning with the Dharma, we listen. We listen into the unmoving suchness here and now, and we listen into all that is unfolding to every dimension of our being. We listen to the dying of a world we have known, every day new species gone forever, the terror and anguish of it. We listen to the crazy voices that advocate the extremes. We listen to our struggle at the cusp of scary and amazing times. We listen for an appropriate response, and we listen into the one who is listening. We hear it all. We hear our one true, unfathomable, mysterious heart, and in doing so, find an undying refuge. We find our way home. That's from Kitty Sorrow and Tanisara, awesome, amazing Dharma teacher couple, used to be monastics, fierce, fierce, fierce teachers. So I'm going to offer a little metta chanting to end our talk, to end this talk tonight, and then we'll have a little bit of time for some questions or reflections. This is, I think, amidst all of this chaos, you can see I have my pile here. I've been just like reaching for all the sages. I have like the Dhammapada, the Tao Te Ching, and actually, I was called to pull this off of my bookshelf, and out came this chant that I'm going to chant for you. I think it might be pulled up on the screens. I hoped that you could actually see it. So here's the thing. I'm going to chant in Pali. It's a really long chant. It would have taken our whole time if I was going to do a call and response. So we're not going to do that. You're going to kind of just listen to me. And this is a metta chant. So metta means loving kindness. For those of you that don't know that word, friendliness. Um, This is from the Theravadan tradition. I think it has Burmese origins. And I'll read it first in English and then I'll chant it so you know what I'm chanting. And this is a little bit of a shortened version. Yeah, Adam has a few copies if oh, it looks like it's going to come up. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel in the back. Thank you, Daniel. Does anyone have difficulty seeing the screen? If you want a paper copy, we have like 5. Yeah, take a copy. I think I've had this for years. It's very precious. So like I said, we're not going to do the whole thing. There's going to be a piece that I cut out, but I think we're still including everyone, so don't worry. Ooh. May I be kind-hearted. May I be relieved from hardship and oppression. May I feel peaceful in body and mind. May I feel the happiness of caring for myself. My parents, teachers, relatives, and friends, may they be kind-hearted. May they be relieved from hardship and oppression. May they feel peaceful in body and mind. May they feel happy, caring for themselves. Okay, and we're going to jump to Daniel. It's going to be the Sabbe Sata. It's a little bit further down. May all beings, all breathing beings, all creatures, all individuals, all personalities, all females, all males, all those that don't identify as female or male. That's not here. All noble ones, all worldlings, all celestial beings, all human beings, all those in woeful realms, be liberated from suffering, not lose any prosperity they have gained, except ownership of their actions. To the east, to the west, to the north, to the southeast, to the northwest, to the northeast, to the southwest, downward and upward. And then it repeats, may all these beings, all the ones that I just named, be liberated from suffering, not lose any prosperity they have gained, except ownership of their actions. As far as the highest plane of existence, to as far down as the lowest plane, in the entire universe, whatever beings that move on or in the earth, may they be relieved and kind-hearted, safe from injury and danger. And then that repeats with whatever beings that move in water, whatever beings that move in air, whatever beings that move in fire. May they be relieved and kind-hearted, safe from injury and danger. I feel like this is a hard one for Daniel. Sorry, skipping around over here. And then moving to the end, we say, with the meditation practice, may I be liberated from aging and death. May this merit of mine bring about the destruction of defilements. May my precepts be a good cause for the attainment of the path and fruition. We share this merit with all beings. May all beings be happy. That's what I'm going to chant. I don't think it's leaving anyone out. It's like the most amazing thing. It's amazing. So, well said. Yes, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yes. Love that. So if you want to, feel free to close your eyes. You don't need to look at the screen. I'm going to chant this. I wanted you to know the, the meaning, and yet you can really just feel into what it evokes in you. Aham aweda homi, abhya pajo homi. Aniga homi, sukhiyatanam pariharami. Mata pitu acharyacha, nyati mitacha sabramacharinocha. Awera hontu, abhyapaja hontu, aniga hontu, sukhiyatanam pariharantu. Sabe sata, sabe pana, sabe buta, sabe pugala, sabe atabawa pariyapana, sabatio, sabe purisa, Sabe Ariya, Sabe Anariya, Sabe Dewa, Sabe Manusa, Sabe Winipatika, Aweda Hontu, Abhyapaja Hontu, Aniga Hontu, Sukhiyatanam Pariharantu, Dukkha Muchantu, Yatalada Sampatitoma, Vigachantu Kamasaka, Puratimaya Disaya, Pachimaya Disaya, Uttaraya Disaya, Dakinaya Disaya, Puratimaya Anudisaya, Pachimaya Anudisaya, Uttaraya Anudisaya, Dakinaya Anudisaya, Hetimaya Disaya, Uparimaya Disaya, Sabe Sata, Sabe Pana, Sabe Bhuta, Sabe Pugala, Sabe Atabawa Pariyapana, Sabai Tiyo, Sabe Purisa, Sabe Ariya, Sabe Anariya, Sabe Dewa, Sabe Manusa, Sabe Winipatika, Aweda Hontu, Abhyapaja Hontu, Aniga Hontu, Sukhiyatanam Pariharantu, Dukkha Muchantu, Yatalada Sampatito, Mawigachantu Kamasaka. Udam yawa bawagacha, ado yawa awichito, samanta kakawalesu, yesata patawichara, abhyapaja niweracha, nidukacha nupadawa. Udam yawa bawagacha, ado yawa awichito, samanta kakawalesu, ye sata udakechara, abhyapaja niweracha, nidukacha nupadawa. Udam yawa bawagacha, ado yawa awichito, samanta kakawalesu, ye sata akasechara, abhyapaja niweracha, nidukacha nupadawa. Udam yawa bawagacha, ado yawa awichito, samanta kakawalesu, ye sata agichara, abhyapaja niweracha, nidukacha nupadawa. Ada imaya patipadaya, jara maranama parimuchisami, idame punyam asawakaya waham hotu, idame silam magapala nyanasa pachayo hotu, imam no punyam bagam sabasatam dema, Sabe sata sukita hontu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That's our dedication of merit for tonight. Okay. We have not a lot of time for questions, but let's just see if there's like one, maybe one and a half. Anyone on Zoom or in the room? You just raise your hand and Jen will hand over the mic or...
I have a little question. Maybe it's a half a question.
Okay, perfect.
Can you remind us the Kabbalah? What's the historical or like time
Yeah.
frame? Where does that come from?
Yeah, it belongs to Jewish mysticism. That's the belonging of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for your question. Yeah.
Well, let's pass the mic. So, Parisa, can you just wait 1 second? This way the people on the computer can hear you if you use this.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think for me, what has been really predominant is trying to figure out how to engage without putting out more anger into the anger that's there.
Yes. 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 You know, I think it was yesterday. Yeah. I think it was yesterday. This was when I heard the news about this friend whose sister-in-law was at the shooting. I was so angry. And so what I did, what I needed to do was I felt like I needed to move this energy. And so I ended up dancing for like an hour. And as I danced and as I stomped and I was even screaming into space where no one was, I could feel my boundaries and I could feel what's true for me. And that felt really important. Because underneath anger, right, there's truth, there's really important information and strength. But yeah, we each have to kind of find that toggle of reactivity versus like clearness, right? A clear movement. Yeah, thanks for saying that. And the sorrow that's under it. Amen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry for the brevity of our Q and R.
It looks like Colleen on
Okay.
Zoom has a hand up.
Okay, let's just.
Can you unmute
Yeah.
and go ahead, Colleen?
One of the things I've been doing is writing Mr. Trump uh, letters, which I don't think get to him. But I start with my concerns, and then I end up with, "May you grow in wisdom," and that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and
Thank
as
you.
I said, I doubt that he gets them or
Yeah,
reads them, but he might. Somebody might.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
and also what I hear when you say that, Colleen, is that you get to not only express, right? You
yes,
get to feel like you can express rather than feeling helpless.
exactly. And
And
may I
yeah,
at the same time, may I actually feel some kind of uh, something for him besides what other things that I feel.
that's right.
May he grow in wisdom. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
The
Yeah.
capacity, who knows about it.
You're getting a lot of like amens, ahos,
Oh,
sadhus in this room, just so you know.
okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let's all just take a moment to let this settle. Maybe a nice breath. Actually, let's do that together. Let's inhale together and exhale with an ah. Yeah. Thank you for your practices tonight. Take home with you whatever feels accurate or resonant and leave the rest behind so that you may find your own middle path, so that we may find our middle paths together. I'm ringing the bell, Zoomers, because I feel like it. Thank you all.